It's still Plus Politics, and we are back. The African Action Congress has expelled its National Secretary, Leonard Ezenwa, for suspending the national chairman and presidential candidates in the last election, Omoyele Sowore. Ezenwa had announced the suspension of Sowore and 8 others, including its Deputy National Chairman, Southwest, Ogunlana Rotimi Jacob, for a period of 6 months over its alleged anti-party activities. And I'm being joined in the studio by Francis Chilaka, a political analyst. It's good to have you join us, Mr. Francis. Of course, we still have in the studio Babashola Adebuyi. He's a political analyst. It's good to have you join us once again.
Thank you.
So I will start with you, Mr. Chilaka. This, I like to call it imbroglio within the party. First and foremost, they listed issues such as anti-party, failure to call NEC meeting, and financial misappropriation as some of the reasons why the suspension took place. So the suspender has also been suspended. Let's start from there.
Well, everybody's on suspension right now.
I can see that.
The only difference is that one person has been expelled from the party, which is the expelled National Secretary, Leonard Ezenwa. I think this whole thing is all conspiracy. It boils down to one thing: Naira and Cobra. It's unfortunate that our political parties and our politics has become, the legalized 419. It's unfortunate, but that's what it is right now. People are not being sincere with themselves. I do not, for one, support a presidential candidate being the same person as the national chairman of a party.
Why are you in a position of that?
The whole idea of democracy is for everybody to get involved. Now, if you're a national party chairman of a party, automatically you would close the door for any other person to come in. Because if you're the national party and you're the national chairman and you want to contest for presidency, how would there be a fair contest?
This is detail for what happened in the SDP between Donald Duke and Jerry Garner, because he was the party chairman, and then he also was nothing intentions. Was he not the party chairman?
No, he was not the party chairman.
I think it was NRP.
ARNP.
Yes. So, but when we have those kind of vested interests, does it not also have to do with the party's manifesto? Because every party has different manifestos.
I mean, it has nothing to do with it. Even if it's there in the manifesto, I think it's just individuals showcasing their greed for power. Yes, because that's the bottom line of it. You can't hold on to the chairmanship of a political party and also want to be the presidential candidate. In other words, it's a family business. And that is not the tenets of forming political parties. So if you look at AAC, the way it is, it's actually midwifed by Sowore. He owns the party, practically. So in other words, he dictates what happens. But I think it is wrong for that to happen. If we really want real democracy in Nigeria, we should go beyond individuals. The problem we're having is that people are too selfish and too self-centered. It's all about me. It's not about the people. Politics should be taking care of the masses. The Nigerian politics is enriching those who are enriched themselves and keep enriching themselves.
I want to differ a bit, or maybe ask it as a question. This is how politics or politicking in political parties in Nigeria is. The party is more powerful than the candidates. This is what happens. So every time you do a thing, it has to be what the party wants. And that's what we saw when, before the 9th Assembly was even put together, a certain party chairman is saying, we want this, and this, which is not supposed to be so. And knowing that our constitution supersedes any other thing or booklet that has rules and regulations, he still went ahead to do that. Now, in other climes, the candidate, yes, backed by the party, has some powers. But it is mostly about the person, not necessarily the party. Are we ever going to be able to change this modus operandi that we have in Nigerian politics?
The only way we can change is for us to change the system of government.
How do you mean?
Maybe to go back to parliamentary, whereby
Is that not taking 10 steps backwards? I mean, we're trying to striving, although we call our democracy.
Are you making progress with what you have?
I'm just making a case for making a case reason. I'm just saying, we're striving with what we call our nascent democracy. Going back to a parliamentary system, is it even going to work? What will it do? What changes will it make?
What I'm trying to let you understand is going to be a very difficult thing.
Going forward or going backward?
It's going to be a very difficult thing to go forward. It's going to be a difficult thing to go backward. You get, we are where we are today. We have failed to define, number one, who we are and what we want. Who we are and what we want. Now, for example, a chairman of a political party contesting for a position of maybe president or whatever position, because we have a lot of them during the last election who were the chairman of that political party at the state level, at the national level, and also contesting for the governor or the president of that political party. Number one thing I've noticed about all these people is they know they can't win, but they are using it for an opportunity to negotiate. I'm not saying it's the case with AAC now. You get, they are used for opportunity to negotiate. And the problem with AAC, when Sowore, there was a movement there, I think, take it back.
Yeah.
Yes, when they were moving up and down, I said, good, this is a movement. But the day they started the political party, I said, this is now the time the man will understand politics. That politics is totally different from movement. And that is exactly the... Sowore became the chairman because he had that vision, and he did not want any other person to hijack it from him. But because that is always the case, whereby the person that has a vision, another group of people will say, the man is not going our way, let's push him away. You get my... So he did not, or he does not want that to happen.
It makes me wonder if INEC can come in here in terms of these political parties multiplying. There's nothing wrong with having loads of political parties, but how are they set up? And how impactful are they? Well, maybe we should start addressing those issues.
No, what I think INEC should do right now, in a sane client, that's what INEC should do, is to look at the political parties. If you have not won one seat, either from the state to the federal, scrap that party. Exactly. Let's scrap them. So that we know how many parties we really have. We had about 99 parties.
91 that
91
are
parties.
visible and doing stuff.
You know, it doesn't add up. Because what you ended up having is just people who just sit down in one room, organize themselves, and they say they're forming a political party. At the end of the day, you find out that in Nigeria today, we only have two parties, whether we like it or not. People will disagree, but that's the truth. That's the truth. We only have two parties. So what I would really say to other smaller parties is come together and form the third force.
But you see, I remember during the Nigeria Decides, a period, I kept asking small political parties, in quotes, because they don't like me to call them small political parties. But I kept asking, if you're trying to form a third force, why don't you come together? They said, oh, our ideologies are different. So if we come together, there will be a clash and we'll still separate. And I said, wow, then we don't know where we're going.
It comes to what he just said.
Because I really recently, I don't know if recently Nigerian political parties have started having ideologies, but I have not heard of any that I can actually see and hold on to. Like we have the Republicans and the Democrats, or let's say in the UK where you have the UKIP and the Lib Dems. We don't.
Yes, we don't. But you see, like you said, it's all about the man who has the vision. Feeling that, oh, I have this vision, I must implement this vision. This is not how countries that are really practicing democracy are going about it. You have a vision, throw it on the table. Because I've learned one thing, is that where your own vision stops, some other person's own is beginning.
It begins.
So put it on the table. It doesn't matter whether you're the presidential candidate, it doesn't matter whether as long as you're the one that has the vision. They cannot write the history and story of that party without mentioning your name. But the thing is that every Nigerian politician, because of the free money, that's the only driving force, the free money. If you make the political appointees, presidency to governorship to House of Rep, if you make it unpalatable, if you make it unattractive in terms of remunerations, you will see a lot of people will run away. But it's because, a senator is going to go home with 10 million naira on the, is it 2nd or 1st of June or whatever?
And some cars.
And, you know, and then, so tell me, why would people not kill somebody to become a senator? So we've gotten to that level because it's the, like I say, I keep saying it, and I'll say it. I don't care whose ass is God. Nigerian politics today is a legalized 419.
Now, let's look at how we can, because like I said earlier on, we know all the problems of Nigeria. I'm sure we can write thesis and, you know, give lectures and seminars and webinars about it. Where do we even start? Because the rest of the world is moving forward and we're still running around in circles. A friend of mine made a joke saying Jesus will come and we're still here trying to sort ourselves out. I hope not. But where do we even start? Because earlier on, we were talking about educating the people, not to be book educated, but streetwise, knowing about what you should know about your leader, your elected official, and knowing what your rights are as a person. I know, and I don't want to make a fuss about this, but the average American, or let's say British person, would ask questions. They would make demands. We don't, except somebody pays, allegedly us, to go and carry placards, except for the Occupy Nigeria. But how many of us really would stand in the sun, in the rain, to say, we will not live here until you do something? I mean, Occupy Nigeria, after a while, we all went to sleep, didn't we?
You know, if you listen to one of Ferrari, it says everybody wants to go to heaven. Nobody wants to die. That is the problem we have in Nigeria. The youths are so docile, and they want to be leaders of tomorrow. Leadership is never given to anybody. You go for it.
There are lots of young people who would disagree with you.
You go
One
for
which
it.
is sitting right here.
No, nobody would disagree.
Oh, definitely.
See, the youths are...
They're not docile, they're active on Twitter.
No, they're not. Listen, the Nigerian youths are so carried away with Bet Niger. They're so carried away. Everybody wants to be a millionaire. Loom is all over the place. People are buying into it.
But something had created the grounds for us to all want to just have money and not worry about anything
else. It is because of bad governance. We need to come back to the drawing board. We need to look at the 1999 Constitution. That document, like I keep saying, needs to be shredded. We need to sit down as a people and design what we want and how we want to rule ourselves. That's the starting point. 2, I don't understand why the Nigerian Constitution is not being taught in schools.
We don't even have history anymore, do we?
It's been going back and forth, back and forth. I hope they will.
I wonder what a country would be without history.
So we need to, this is where we start from. We need to go back to the basics. We have, I keep saying it, we have the National Orientation Agency. What are they doing? How effective are they? And then people collect salary at the end of the month. And nobody is asking questions.
Well, some of them will say they can't use their salary to do the job.
It's not their salary, they have a budget. The National Orientation Agency has a budget enshrined in the 2019 budget. So what are they doing with it?
It's a big question.
So we need to go back to the basics. They don't teach moral studies in schools any longer. The churches are not ready to teach morals. No, the homes are not teaching morals. So there's total decadence.
Quick, so, I mean, I'm wondering, where does this leave us? Adebi, before we go, where do we go from here?
Well,
is Uhuru close by, or is this just going to continuously be a mirage for us?
Well, the only thing I can say is this. For there to be any change, then it has to start with us. And for it to start with us, then there must be someone who is ready to lead and ready to die with his own people.
I'm being a Nigerian now. Nobody wants to die, please.
Exactly, that is what the problem is. You get? So some people need to make sacrifice for us to get there. Whether sacrifice by deceiving or betraying those in power now so that you get there. But it's just unfortunate. It's the people that surround those in power that make things difficult.
For the rest of us.
For the rest of us. So, like I said earlier, we have to go back to the drawing board. Also, you also mentioned we have to go back to the drawing board. Maybe we have to start from our homes. There is no value in the system again. Talk of any value. None of them is existing. Everybody is now about how to make money overnight and live large.
Well, sorry. You know, let me just say, you talked about making sacrifice and somebody going to lead. It has started. Whether we like it or not, the change Nigeria is looking for has started. The rate at which people are taking their lives, the rate of suicide in Nigeria today.
It's alarming, I know this.
It's going to get to a point where people would wake up one morning and declare war. It is going to get to that point.
Well, we hope not. We hope that we will be back to our senses and do the right thing so that we can have a better Nigeria. Thank you very much, Francis Chilaka, political analyst, for being here. And of course, Babashola Adegui, political analyst. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here with us.
Thank you very much.
Well, we'll take a look at our Plus package. And when we return, it'll be time for my take. You don't want to miss it. The Acting Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has tasked police chiefs across the West African sub-region to put in more effort in tackling crime and criminality. Adamu spoke at the 16th Annual General Assembly of the West African Police Chiefs Committee, a platform aimed at boosting cooperation among law enforcement experts with an objective aimed at reducing crime within the sub-region.
The assemblage of these chiefs of police services as an annual event designed to undertake periodic review of regional security issues and evolve strategies and framework geared towards combating various transnational crimes, including terrorism, drug trafficking, illegal proliferation of weapons and ammunition, human trafficking and migrant smuggling, cattle and herders farmers conflicts, sea piracy, banditry, money laundering, and others. The platform will also aid in the understanding of economic community of West African States Commission's provisions and response to law enforcement and other related issues. In addition, it is an invaluable opportunity to discuss modalities for deeper collaboration with Central African Police Chiefs Committee, while also examining the update on the implementation of the West African Police Information System, codenamed WAPIS.
The fight against crime and criminality is not for a single security agency alone. It is therefore gratifying to know that this meeting covers a wide range of topics related to all agencies of law enforcement, especially the formulation of a legal framework that would encourage regional cooperation and collaboration among and between the police and other security agencies. It will indeed be of great importance if the deliberations here will lead to a better understanding and cooperation amongst them, so that the efforts at fighting criminal vices will be successful and sustained.
ECOWAS recognized that as important as it is to fight organized crime with law enforcement agency, the impact of organized crime on peace and security, statehood and socio-economic development can be tackled by law enforcement alone, but should include international cooperation, which goes hand in hand with a stronger commitment for social and governance-oriented policies that will ensure adequate distribution of state resources and conducive environment for sustainable development.
Well, it's time for my take. Leadership worldwide should be about the led and not about the leaders. In other words, the people should be prioritized over everything. The case seems to be different in Nigeria, a country where leaders think of themselves and their well-being much more than that of the people that they swore an oath to work for and protect. A disheartening situation it is, but the question is, how did we get to this point? Now, in the words of Mwai Kibaki, leadership is a privilege to better the lives of others. It is not an opportunity to satisfy personal greed. So if you call yourself a leader, think on this. Are you bettering the lot of your people, or are you doing the opposite? It's time for us to get our leaders to be responsible, and we have to act now. I am Mary Anna Cohn, and thanks for watching Plus Politics today. Do have a great day.